Hey, white belt. Yeah, you. In this video, I'm gonna give you a couple white belt mistakes that you shouldn't make that I made in your jiu-jitsu journey. So that white belt mistakes are important in your journey, especially if you're 40 and over and you're just starting jiu-jitsu. If you don't make these mistakes, it'll make your journey a little easier to deal with. First mistake, don't overtrain. As a older jiu-jitsu practitioner who's just starting, maybe 30 and up, 40 and up, you don't want to overtrain because overtraining can be hard on your body. Therefore, you need to focus on recovery. If you're just starting jiu-jitsu and you haven't been that active in your previous life before you're starting as a 40-year-old person who's starting Brazilian jiu-jitsu, don't overtrain. I would say leave it to 2 days a week, maybe on a good week 3. Get your body used to training jiu-jitsu in those different moments, because those days of hard rolls, you're going to be sore, your hips are going to hurt, your elbows are going to hurt, everything's going to hurt. So make sure you take some of that time to recover. Another white belt mistake that I made that I don't want you to make is focus on control. As a white belt, you don't know the first thing about controlling another grown woman or man. Don't focus on submission so much. Focus on controlling your opponent, controlling them from side control, mount, controlling your opponent so they don't stand up. In MMA training, that's a big deal. If you can hold somebody on the ground, inflict some damage, and don't let them stand up, it's a pretty big deal. Even in the self-defense aspect, if you're on your back and you're focusing on the wrists and the hands and the guard trying to protect your face, practice on standing up. You being in the guard, somebody on top of you, you practice standing up. That's another aspect of control. So when your first month or two of jiu-jitsu, focus on control. Another white belt mistake that I made that I don't want you to make is leaving your ego at the door. There's going to be a young man, there's going to be a young woman who's younger, smaller, a pipsqueak in reference to you, because you may be a bigger man. Leave your ego at the door. Just because they're small and a woman doesn't mean that they can't rough you up. My first jiu-jitsu person was Crystal. One of my first jiu-jitsu people that taught me jiu-jitsu was Crystal. She was an older woman who literally beat me up every day. And ever since then, I never took any woman lightly. So leave your ego at the door. Learn. If you get tapped, if you get controlled by a smaller man or woman, ask them what you did wrong and leave that ego at the door. It'll help you in the long run. Last thing, you want to focus on one thing and keep that in mind when you're training and just starting jiu-jitsu. My personal opinion, I think that one thing should be control, but that's not to say you have to focus on that one thing. Focus on one thing for that first couple of months and let that ride while you're just starting jiu-jitsu. That can be something you just learned, like I'm going to scissor sweep everybody that I roll with. I'm going to get out of mount on everybody that mounts me. Anything that you want, just focus on that one thing for a couple months, and that'll help you later in your jiu-jitsu journey. My thing that I focused on first, because I was getting smashed every day for months because it was a smaller school. Not many new people came into the school, so I was getting smashed forever. But I focused on mount defense. I was really, really, really good at getting out of mount because everybody always got mount. And I remember even the black belt at the time said that I've done it so much and I focused on it so much, I may have the best mount defense for a white belt that he had ever seen. And still to this day, I'm pretty good at getting out of mount. Focus on one thing. In a previous video that I did that I'm gonna put up here, gives tips on how to roll with upper belts. Go ahead and take a look at that video because that'll help you a lot. So on this rainy day here in Florida, these are the white belt mistakes that I made that I don't want you to make. Main thing is keep training one foot in front of the other. If you're a 40-year-old, 30, 40-year-old dad who's just starting, keep at it, keep mobile, and keep training. This is Patrick, 40 and Flowing. We'll see you next time.